So, what is literature, you might ask? Well, answering that would take up most of my time, so I'll keep this concise. I believe most of us are acquainted with the meaning of myths, folklore, fables, novels, and anything else that tells us a story through words. The true essence of literature lies in the ability of telling a story to anyone who would listen by using meaningful sentences. Literature is the backbone of our society. Ever since humans have existed how to imagine, the concept of literature has existed. Stories have been passed down from generations, and these stories have a massive impact on human life, be it science, history, or even maths. Stories help people in different ways. Some may use it as an escape from reality, while others may use it to get back into reality. Literature provides people with a voice. However, as every situation has its cons, this too has its own problem. Throughout history, literature has been used to communicate thoughts, ideas, stories, and much more, but along with these are the problems of authors using this medium and communicating their own misguided and incorrect thoughts, somewhat manipulating the audience into embracing these thoughts as well. Every masterpiece has its own defects, and this statement stands true in the case of literature as well. In the past few decades, literature has evolved significantly, but in the classical works of literature, there have been several recorded instances of issues such as racism, xenophobia, and stereotypical characters. These issues span throughout different genres, authors, books, and even generations. Classical literature is riddled with stereotypical, racist, and even oppressive characters. The works of the great playwright William Shakespeare, whose plays are still taught in today's schools, have some of these historically oppressive characters. For example, Portia from The Merchant of Venice is shown to be extremely racist towards dark-skinned people. Along with Portia, there is the anti-Semitic notion that the play festers, with every character being against Shylock, a Jew, who was considered to be antagonist only because of his religion. Shakespeare isn't the only well-known author who has oppressive characters in their work. In the book Little Women, we see how the main characters are forced to juggle their life between personal growth and familial problems. Even the great Sir Arthur Conan Doyle, the creator and author of Sherlock Holmes, had his fair share of societal issues in his works. In some of his books, we see how women were treated as nothing but objects, portraying sexism. These examples, however, must not derail us from the good content of these works. They give us an insight into the days of old. They are examples of good writing. They provide a voice to people. They give someone to look up to, and they act as a medium of communicating thoughts and ideas. Without classical literature, there would be no advancements in the field of literature since the days of yore. Today, when we read these works of the centuries long gone, we must take into account how different the times were. We must acknowledge the misconceptions and instances of stereotypical characters, as well as those of racism and xenophobia. But we should not also completely debar the idea of these books. We must not only judge a book by its mistakes, but also by its teachings. We must not embrace those past ideologies before looking at them through a modern perspective. We, as authors and readers alike, should not forget the mistakes of the past. I do not write to put people down or conspire against a group of people. I write because I have ideas I want to explore, emotions I want to feel, and impossibilities I want to make real. I would like to reiterate that despite it not being a perfect job, we must not forget the works of our predecessors and try to live up to the true potential of literature. Books can change life, and it is our duty to change it for the better.